Welcome to Beyond My Crisis. I'm your co-host, Ron Rosnick.
And I'm Vivian Gaspar, and we are so fortunate to have with us here a guest who enriches our knowledge so much on such sensitive topics. Alena Chapman, welcome back. And thank you so much, because unfortunately the statistics are horrifying. Domestic violence is rampant, and so much of society wants to pretend it doesn't even happen. But for those people who are fortunate enough to be able to escape, what is next? How do they go beyond that crisis? So Alena, we need to know, who are you? Alena Chapman is a mentor, a speaker, and a best-selling international author. She has artfully empowered and delivered knowledge, tools, and compassion to help her clients unleash their passion and their inner power. Alena, tell me, why do so many people fall into abusive relationships in the first place?
Well, they've either come from an abusive relationship or self-esteem. And it's funny, I was just talking to someone the other day who is a client, and she is trying to help her daughter. She herself has very low self-esteem. Her daughter has incredibly low self-esteem, and has met with this guy, a boyfriend, who is starting to abuse her. So she left, but she keeps saying, I've never had anyone who loves me so much.
Is this genetic, this low self-esteem?
Either that, or she's just raised with someone who has low self-esteem, and so she never gained the self-esteem. What we do as parents, we don't understand how it impacts our kids. So she transferred, the mother transferred her low self-esteem to her daughter. But unfortunately, her daughter has now hooked up with a guy who's abusive.
Okay, so let's say her daughter's successful of getting out of that relationship. Mm-hmm. Once you break away from that, what are the steps to helping them pick up the pieces and begin really living again and not getting into another abusive relationship?
Yes. Okay. First of all, support. Support is very important. Support of friends, family, people who are going to help you take those steps forward. And it's hard. I've dealt with a lot of abusive women, believe it or not, just because they want the help, or through I worked through right relations.
Do you say abusive women or women who've been abused? Because women
Both.
can be abusive to others.
Oh,
they can
yeah,
be the
yeah.
abuser in
Well, and to
relationships
men,
also.
they can. Yes, they can.
I can
most
agree to
definitely. I know some men who've been abused. It's very sad.
People should know that the men can be abused as well as they could be the victims as well as the abusers.
Is it like a 50-50 split?
No, I don't think it's a 50-50, but I'll tell you, it's true. Abusing is not just who has the muscles, because it's almost a mental game, and it always starts as a mental game first. And I remember all the abuse this one woman went through. The one thing that was the hardest thing for her to get over was when he'd get into her face and just yell, "It's all about me." And that was the hardest thing for her to get over. And that's a mental thing, showing you don't matter, it's all about me, and just getting in her face.
Which sometimes makes her self-esteem even less.
Right.
Her self-esteem fell in the toilet.
And I see people not seeing that their future could be brighter. Time and time again, I've encountered people that don't want to leave that relationship.
No.
They want to cling on to it like it will get better.
It's codependent. And
what's the key to unlock that belief system?
Support. You have got to have support. You've got to have family members who are going to bolster you up. You have got to seek help. And most importantly, for a woman or a man, but a lot of time a woman with children or whatever, their main concern isn't just being with a man. Sometimes it is. But their other concern is, can I make it alone?
Can I make it alone?
Can I make it alone?
Economically.
Economically. Can I take care of these kids and work? Can I raise a household all by myself? So they need, that's why I'm saying the support of the family and
They
friends.
say it takes a village to raise a family, right?
And let's not forget.
It really does.
And in my past, being a foreclosure expert, I've encountered so many situations where men were abused, and then women, mothers of their children, disappeared, and now these men are left to raise these children alone.
Yes.
I've seen it both ways
have
in
that
several cases.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we really have to
We
keep
have
open mind
to
and remember
address-
it goes in both ways.
It does. And the men kind of suffer from another thing. A lot of times, unless the woman was the breadwinner, he doesn't have that fear of making the money. But sometimes they do. If the woman was the one making the money, whoever the spouse was.
Well, going into
But-
single parenthood is a big shift in their thought process.
Of course it is.
You have to, money has to be secondary to children,
Well,
right?
and
health.
supporting those kids.
Yeah.
But also the health. How do I raise these kids by myself? How do I find the time to do the things that we used to split? All that stuff. It's like a divorce in that way. But the other thing you really need to do, if you really want to move ahead after an abuse and not go back, you've got to work with somebody. You've got to work with somebody you respect, either a psychologist or a mentor. And I'll tell you what, start making a plan. Start thinking about what you want to do. Not what you have to do, but what you want to do. And then start taking the steps make a plan, 3 steps, and start them easy. Whether that's just going to an office or a flexible, a temporary staffing or whatever it is that you can go to for work, going to the store down at the end of the block. Write that down. That's a one step.
How about ideas where they could do things from home? I mean, if they're so concerned with the responsibility of raising children alone, aren't there a lot of things people could do to make money while take care of children alone? So you're a mentor.
Right.
And so that's addition. So I think it's even better to be a mentor than somebody who is a therapist. Not that we're naysaying therapy, because I think is it kind of like a blend where you're helping people on more step-by-step hands-on approach as a mentor?
What mentors do more than anything, we help you to definitely recognize where you are, okay, and learn how to accept and leave behind and let go. But definitely move forward. We don't keep you back. We want to see you moving forward in life in a positive way that actually grows to abundance and prosperity.
It sounds like a no-brainer. So how do I find a mentor? And
I
how do I find one that matches with
Yeah.
my personality? And how do I know one's competent?
Well, they do say that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I have to say that does happen to a certain extent. And even today I was talking to someone who is going to start studying with me. She said, "You just sort of appeared on my email." And I said, I didn't have any clue how that happened. But like I said, the teacher will appear. And I do help people. I am one. And if I resonate with anyone, feel free to call me. But on the other hand, if there's somebody else that really you just feel a real connection with, then that's the person you need to be with.
Great. So let's just wrap up by saying you need to get the help and support to make sure the rest of your life ends up being something you really want it to be, to get past your crisis.
Welcome to Beyond My Crisis. I'm your co-host, Ron Rosnick.
And I'm Vivian Gaspar. We are so fortunate to have with us here today celebrity author Alena Chapman. Alena Chapman is a mentor, speaker, international best-selling author, and she is just amazing in the information she has to provide. But she also artfully and powerfully delivers the knowledge, tools, and compassion which helps her clients unleash their passion and inner power. And we are here to tackle some a little bit more challenging topics that people don't realize how rampant it is. Do we realize how many people are adult survivors of abuse by a parent?
No, and I can honestly say they don't want to advertise it.
Right, so I think a lot of people deny it is really the bottom line, because abuse is far-reaching and it's diversified. I mean, what does qualify as abuse?
Well, a lot of things. You've got the emotional, you've got the physical, you've got, there's a lot of different kinds of abuse that people suffer. And most people who have grown up with physical abuse, it always starts with emotional. It always starts with the comments, the constant putting downs, as a child, the putting down the self-esteem all the time. I'm trying to think of something in particular.
So what's a common thing a parent would say to a child?
That's what I'm saying. Say with even good grades, they come home with a happy B's and A's, and you say, "Why can't you get all? Are you stupid or something?"
Oh, wow. I can't imagine a parent doing that.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. I once had a client.
Or they say, "You're bad."
Yeah.
So I understand that there's a distinction. Don't tell the child that they're bad, but they could do something bad.
Right.
So
They
let them know
chose.
that they did something that was bad, but they're not bad.
Right. Yes, that's exactly right. So when you have this emotional abuse, and then it gets even into physical, where the child will shut down. You can shut those off. You can shut down those feelings, or they can manifest into anger. A lot of times when a person grows up with abuse in the family, and I have dealt with a lot of abuse, a lot of people come to me with either they've been through an abusive childhood and then they are faced with trying to make their own life and they're having trouble. Women tend to undervalue themselves, or they're looking for other abusers because they think that's love. So they'll end up in another abusive relationship. If your mother was abusive to you, say, a lot of times I have people come to me because then they find themselves in an abusive marriage and they don't know why.
So they're repeating their childhood. And they say that children will model their parent or do the opposite.
Well, and a child who actually marries, they're trying to fix it.
Oh, that's it.
They're trying to fix what went wrong when they were children.
So what if you're a girl whose mother was abusive toward them, but you're not a lesbian, so you're marrying a man? How would that translate?
I can give you the perfect example because I have a client right now. Her mother was very abusive, and so she married a man who was very domineering, very not physically abusive, but mentally very strong and emotionally very confining. She said when she was in the room, when she first met him, she didn't understand or process it because her consciousness wasn't at what abuse can be. And she said, I felt smothered. And when we first got married, she felt smothered. He'd never leave me alone.
And she gravitated toward that.
And she gravitated towards it. And then he was controlling the friends that she had, controlling how many times she could go out by herself, controlling even what she wore. That's a type of abuse.
So the way to stop the cycle would be an introspective awareness.
It's an introspective awareness.
So how do we improve that?
Okay. When you see you need help. You find you.
Yes. Okay, I'll see you later.
Make an appointment.
Wait, what's your number again? Website. That's always better.
Yeah. I should read a book.
There you go. They need to get in with a really good psychologist or a mentor, because I do help people move past that. That's what I do.
How does mentoring differ from seeing a psychiatrist or psychologist?
A psychologist is very good at going back into the past and really examining that. A mentor will help you process that feelings of the past, but then help you move forward onto it.
So they're like a coach. They'll help you create a better future for yourself.
Yes, that's the whole idea.
With the awareness.
But we go into a little bit deeper than most coaches, mentors, because we talk about what's going on in the subconscious and the paradigms and the tools that we can use to access some of that hurt and process it as quickly as possible and learn to deal with it.
So how do you become a mentor? How do you learn the skill to do that?
20 years of study and experiences.
Well, Alena, I really would like to go back if we can, and I really want to visit. You mentioned your client who was abused by their mother.
Yes.
Translated that to being with a man who is abusive. Yep. Okay. How was the mother abusive towards this woman? I'd love to know that, because I can't imagine as a mother being abusive towards my children. So I'd like to know, what does that look like?
That's
How
a
does
good
that
mother.
translate?
Her mother was an alcoholic. Her mother was jealous. And her mother also had, many mothers are.
So these emotions, alcoholism is the biggest
already
tip.
puts a barrier. And then she was one who was also she felt very insecure with men. She probably came from an abusive thing.
So parents with insecurities, parents with depression, parents that have addictive personality traits.
Addictive, narcissistic.
Narcissism.
That's a big one.
How do you detect narcissism?
Oh, narcissism. Narcissism. Very controlling. Actually, it's very hard to tell between a psychopath and a narcissist.
Okay.
And a narcissist.
Blood test for it or something?
I wish it were that easy. But a narcissist is a very controlling. They're a very insecure person, and they have to control you in order for them to feel good. They also want all the attention. They will gear it towards you.
It's all about themselves. Like a lot of bipolar people have a narcissistic trait.
Yeah. Yes, and also people with a lot of anger. They don't want you to be able to have that. Like a good sign that you're with a narcissist.
Oh.
You've just done a wonderful, wonderful thing that you're proud of, or it's your birthday, something where the focus is on you, and then they steal the light.
Somehow with a drama.
With a drama. Bing.
Drama.
That's very good to know.
So that's like an emotional vampire. We've covered that.
Yeah,
so
it's more than that. Let it grow, you'll see.
Here's my question. Was this the mother? Did she hit the daughter? Was it just verbal abuse?
It was verbal abuse. This girl grew up thinking that she had to fix. She had to be the one to put her mother in a good mood. She had to be the one who could keep her mother from that drink. She had to be the one who could keep her mother home from going out and finding men. So
she became the superhero, which is also the modern enabler.
And so that's exactly what she was trying to do with her husband. She couldn't do it with the mother, even though she tried and tried and tried. So then she married this man who was controlling, a narcissist, and very, very, very abusive in the way he presented himself to her. And then she proceeded to try and fix him.
So we've mapped out some scenarios. You showed us how to detect it. How do we stop the cycle?
If it's in yourself, then you need to go inside. It is possible to process that hurt. It is, meaning heal from it, learning to forgive. And it is a process, but it doesn't take as long as you think.
So wait, you just touched on a very interesting word. Is it important, let's say hypothetically you were abused, this lady who's abused by her mother. Let's say her mother passes on. Is one way to help maybe remedy herself or cure herself, or I don't know what the best word is, you're the expert.
Cure herself, no, not cure.
To forgive.
Yeah.
To forgive the abuser.
And yourself.
But why forgive yourself? What are you forgiving yourself for? And how do you forgive someone where it's impossible to forgive? Like they're not asking for you, either they passed away or they don't think they did anything wrong.
So what's the benefit? What's the benefit of forgiveness?
Guess what, guys? Big news here. Forgiveness is not for the other person.
Forgiveness is not for the recipient. It's for the deliverer.
It's for us.
The victim.
We forgive. When we forgive, it's for us. Say you wronged me, okay? You wouldn't really care. You wouldn't really care if we weren't friends, or if we were, or in a divorce. Let's use a divorce. Is it really going to do me any good to hold out all that anger? Say if we got divorced, all that anger on you. Does it really matter to you as you're living your separate life?
Doesn't. Although I don't know if the cells that are distant apart can have an effect on it. Are we causing pain to their cells in any way?
No, we are.
We're
Just
not causing
our
pain.
own.
So we're never causing pain, only to ourselves. And that's what we have to recognize.
That's what we have to recognize.
So holding in that anger and that negativity and that hatefulness is only depreciating our own selves.
Not only that, it holds us to it.
But isn't it possible that
it holds us to it? You've got to let it go. As long as you feel that you can't forgive this person, where is your mind all the time?
You're always I would think you're boiling over with anger
You're
to think about the
boiling with
person, like
anger.
how they've been
How
wrong
they
to
did
you
you
and-
wrong, how
Exactly.
they, yeah, so.
What a horrible
you-
person they are. You're thinking it consumes you.
So
I
It
what-
think.
consumes,
so
it
what,
eats you.
So what do we focus on instead?
So you have to focus on, first of all, learning about yourself. That's what I teach. Learning about yourself, going inward, and then starting to look at it. You get to the point where you can look at the situation, which takes a little while, by observing it. Meaning you're not, when you relive the stuff that you went through, you're actually not feeling it, but you can follow it back to why it happened here and here
Without
and
the
here.
emotion, very good.
Without the
You're-
emotion. And then...
It's like that Scrooge thing, the three, the before after the Christmas.
Future.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Past,
watching
present, future.
yourself.
Yeah, you're watching
And you can
yourself.
look through yourself
You
through,
can.
through mind or through photographs.
Without the emotion. And then when you do that, you can see how everything led A to B to B to C. And then at that point, you can start to forgive.
And once you
And
forgive,
really let go.
and once you forgive and let go, what do you get?
Freedom. No, it is freedom. When I let go,
And then you can love again.
you can love again. You can love yourself again. You can love life again. I remember when I let go, it was 50 pounds off my shoulders. I'm not kidding. Really, 50 pounds just left. I actually giggled. I did, because I felt so light. Everything. That's what letting go does.
Sounds like you just brought you joy.
It does. It brings you total
Now, is it
joy.
ever too late? I mean, let's
No,
say you were
it's never.
abused when you were young, and now you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s.
No,
Is there a
never.
point to it? Does it actually matter at that age?
Why?
Yes.
So why do people
Yes.
hold their anger? What are they getting?
They think by holding you know what? It's a false sense of control.
A false sense of control.
Yeah, pseudo control. And we think as long they don't deserve my forgiveness. I've heard that.
But it's not
Yes.
for them, you said.
But it's not hurting them. It's only hurting you. It's a silly, silly,
It's hard-
silly idea.
It's hard for some people to kind of grasp that. I think you have to try it.
You
to
have to
just
try.
have a little faith. I would say to the audience, just go out and find a scenario in your own life and just attempt to do the forgiveness. Maybe you won't do it the first time, but do it again, and it'll work.
It will. And you'll start to feel. It's like that. If we didn't have mics, I'd have you stand up and push against my hands.
You want me to do that?
Can we do that?
sure,
I
I think
can
we
leave the
should.
mic on.
Certainly can.
Okay, can I do that?
Just stand up
Okay.
gently.
All right,
Okay.
now. Okay. All right. You're going to count. You're going to count. You're going to count
I'm going to
to
count.
3. Ready? So you're going to push hard. Push
hard.
hard against me. Push
One.
hard.
2, 3.
Oh my God, I'm coming.
But do you see
I thought that was
what it
coming.
does? No.
Yes, so there's no resistance. I'm just going to
Okay.
fall over.
And I'm the one that let go. Now, who had more control in that situation?
The one
You
who let
had-
go.
I did.
Yes.
Excellent.
That's forgiveness.
Okay, so the power of
I feel
forgiveness.
better already. Thank you so much.
So the power of forgiveness gives you freedom, and it's not
Yeah.
really helping you by holding on. Because I would think if someone's holding on to anger and bitterness,
Oh,
doesn't
stomach
that
problems.
make you
sick?
sick?
It does.
And makes you toxic mentally,
Anything.
physically.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can end up,
There's proof
with some major
of
problems.
health problems related to emotional
Oh my
stress.
gosh, your brain. I mean, your brain is your thinking matter. And what does it do? It looks at something it loves. It releases beautiful chemicals that, dopamine, serotonin, and feeds the cells
Endorphins.
happiness, love. You're happy.
And one thing that I heard
Sickness
is
is the other.
the brain doesn't know when you're lying to it or telling the truth. It reacts as if what you're saying is always true.
That's even another topic. Yeah. Why do you think sum it up. Your world is inside you. And so that's why you create your own world. You don't know it, but you're creating your
know
old
it
world. Now you know it.
I know it now.
Okay, so here we are. The bottom line is,
Yes.
if someone was ever abused in any way by their own parents, and now they're a teenager, adult, 40s, 50s, 60s, forgiveness is the key to lighten
Get with someone.
your soul, your heart, and
Yeah.
to become a healthier overall person. Is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
But don't forget. right? Forgive, but don't forget.
Oh,
If
no!
you forget, you could perpetuate it.
No.
Because
Wait,
you don't
wait,
want to
wait.
let yourself become a victim again.
Ron, you're so funny. No, because actually, if you heal, you're on a different vibration. You're not going to attract the same.
Okay.
But you cannot hold some of. I would not hold on to it. I would just know better next time.
Know better. So we got to make
It's
our corrections. We can't
it's
be.
different.
What's it? Once.
The elephant
Once bitten,
thing.
twice shy?
Elephant
shame
never
on me
forgets-
the first time.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
or second time. something.
We have cliches for everything. However, you always every mistake in life and everything that happens to you, you always take the gems of that, the good things, and move on. And the garbage, let it go.
Wonderful.
Well, Alena,
So
thank you so
great.
much, because I think there has to be everyone who's ever been a survivor of a parent telling them, how could you get a B? Why isn't anything less than straight A's, or even much worse? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And then, of course, there's always physical abuse and putting too much
Yeah,
responsibility.
physical.
A lot of people think that when you put too much responsibility on the shoulders, like, even a 10 or 12, 14-year-old child, making them responsible for raising their own siblings, perhaps.
I did that.
I don't know. Is that abusive? I don't know. But
I didn't think so. But,
but I know that's very common, but there's so many things where if somebody feels that there was wrong, they should seek some help. And if somebody talks to someone like yourself and they find out that maybe that's something that was holding them back. So thank you very much for learning about this on Beyond My Crisis. And remember, together we can stop crisis.